I just wanted to cross-check if we have all the brand names and social accounts secured that we need for the new brand name. Is that all green? I know that Justin
I think
has
that's
been
Justin.
working on.
Yeah, I think that's Justin. But Jesse, do you have? Last I heard in our internal chats, it was Jesse. Is that correct?
What's the question? Did you say that
all the brand assets for such as URLs, etc. GitHub repositories, I suppose those things have all been secured for the new name. So
we have the domain, which I've shared my amazing first revision of it. I worked with Ted, I think yesterday or Tuesday, we did DNS. So maybe you can give us an update on that. Like the other stuff, maybe we could talk about. The socials. I think 2 weeks ago, I was just poking around on Telegram and I noticed that the closest to the thing to the brand wasn't available on Telegram. And I think I told Justin, hey, I thought we had this. I grabbed it because it was available. And Justin said we were just planning to rename the EOSIO channel, which is fine, but I wanted to have it and secure it anyway. So I have it now.
Good.
And then I guess the other ones, I think Brandon, you were going to do some of the Twitter and the Discord ones. I'm not sure what the plan is with GitHub because I know we wanted to rename the one we have now to the new brand. But then again, should we secure the old? Should we secure it? And then, I mean, I imagine like with the Telegram or with the GitHub, if we secure the new one, we would just have to like delete it and then rename the old one quickly so that there's, I don't know if there's a way in any of those systems to say, hey, I rescind this and I give it to this other, account that wants to rename. So
I think in the absence of any very high costs, like for premium URLs, if it seems reasonable that that's something that someone would use and we'd want to grab it, then I think we should err on the side of just grabbing more, of squatting on more IP because it's only going to cause problems in the future if somebody has some kind of lookalike, whatever.
Yeah, I just wanted to check if anybody took responsibility to look at whatever TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever we want to have, and try to secure those name versions that might be available to be used. So I just wanted to check if somebody took that task. Maybe Brandon.
I don't know.
Kind of look at
I started a spreadsheet.
Are we realistically going to use Snapchat here? I mean, I did some background, like looking into like Substrate and Cosmos and other similar like technologies. Like it doesn't hurt to squat it. So don't get me wrong there. I'm fine squatting. I'm just wondering what everyone's opinions are on where we go with this. I envision we'll use Twitter. I like the idea of like renaming the EOSIO devs. Like we'll have a Medium blog or a WordPress blog, but like maybe even a forum. But Snapchat's like very niche.
I don't think it's.
We're not even using Snapchat for EOS, and probably won't for a long time.
I don't think it's anything that we want to use. I think that the grabbing them all so people don't imposter or scam with them would be like the only reason, and then the only presence we would have on most of them probably would be this is the official channel or account of blah, right? I think we're trying to avoid the name right now. But go over here to this place. This is where check Twitter or these are the two main places where we have a presence.
I think we should have them just as redirects.
Yeah. So the question is, Brandon, as you said, you were working on a file. Maybe you want to share that file and on Telegram, and then we have a Telegram decision chat on whether we want to pursue those or not. I mean, the name is generic enough, so it's probably taken anyway. So but we still could try to kind of say, foundation or whatever it's gonna be as a legal entity at some point of time, and then we've secured those. So it's basically no cost.
I was just trying to figure out who had what asset.
Yeah.
I know like Zack, I think, grabbed the Twitter and something else, and other people.
I've got Twitter, GitHub, and Medium. All of the name with IO at the end was what we agreed on.
Yeah.
So we're consistent.
Yeah. Can someone, since we're not revealing it yet, can someone, Zack, since you've done a lot of this already, could you maybe make a matrix document that just says, what the platform name is, what the the asset list, like Brandon says, and who is basically the owner of those, so that we know we've got it covered. And again, so much better to err on the side of just having it, so that we can't be imposters or and who knows what platform is going to become big. We should look at this the way Apple looks at or Alphabet, looks at what they're doing, right? We should have the same mindset to the extent that we can.
And for context, I do have the Telegram ending in IO. I that's what I grabbed.
Nice.
So a while back, CC32 was trying to talk to the owner of the EOSIO developers group to pass over ownership to ENF. This is like when we first started, and he never really responded. I don't even know who the owner is. And when I scroll through the group info, all I see are a bunch of admins. It seems like a bunch of people that we're close with, if not in this group, are admins. And I was just curious if anyone in this group, Aaron, I see you are an admin. Does an admin have permission to rename the group?
No, only the owner. I think I could tell you who the owner is. Yeah, CC is the owner. We're talking about the EOSIO channel.
Yeah, CC's he's not. He's just showing as an admin for me.
Maybe because I'm an admin, I can see owner. His label is owner in the list of members. His name is he's labeled as owner.
Easy owner.
Okay, then we're good. Perfect.
Okay, cool. So then,
Good person on it.
Then we move that over to Telegram based on that. Okay, so I've got to do this.
Zack, you had Twitter, Medium, and GitHub?
GitHub. Yep.
Even if it sounds ridiculous, I sure hope we're getting TikTok. We should,
Yeah,
only,
you never know.
Only if you take ownership of it and are in charge of the.
I'm not actually on TikTok or I haven't been on Facebook. I my 11-year anniversary of leaving Facebook, so I'd probably not be a good person for that. But
as long as you make a video on TikTok of you doing the thread dance, whatever it is.
Okay.
Do we have?
Be sure to show both my bald spot and my huge belly, please.
Okay, doke. So moving, we lost Lucas, it seems, so he's not returning. So do we want to move forward with the topics that we have on the list? I mean, Jeff, you wanted to make some comments on the general voting and progress. I'm not sure if we want to do this discussion or start this discussion without having Eve and Lucas on the call. I think we would rather postpone that to next week then.
Yeah, that's fine. It might be worth just throwing out for people to think about, though, is for context, we came up with the top 20 items that we wanted to turn into actual work somewhere, back in March. And here it is, the end of July, and we still don't have the first, even a single contract written for these. And when you just kind of look at what's going on, it's because there seems to be a great reluctance for the coalition to come together, jump in a timely fashion to provide comments. And we've seen this repeatedly in different areas. And so we just kind of wanted to bring it up as a brainstorm because I think we all recognize that we need to move fast. so brainstorm about that. Maybe we can talk about that in another meeting on, what, other than just saying, yeah, well, we'll all just commit to do better, which is kind of like saying we're going to punt this. We need to think about ways that we can add a little bit of governance or accountability to this if the coalition is not happy with the fact that it's taking us 4 months to even get like the first contract written. That's all. Not asking for a decision today, but let's think about it, because that's something we should improve.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it'll surprise no one that I think that we should be moving as swiftly as possible on this. In that earlier sort of pre-coalition phase, I took on a lot of that, and so I think it does not have to be me, but I think probably somebody has to have that major domo role of saying, hey, we really need to get people moving, because just with the different organizations, the reality of human beings, and this, especially since this is sort of a second job or fifth job for most of us, in terms of our own chains and all our other organizations, I think we need somebody who does drive that. That probably the ideal person for that would probably be a sort of administrator. Like, one of the things we identified early on was that we need somebody to be sort of in charge of this group, and probably not any of us, because we all have our ample responsibilities elsewhere. But our first hire, so to speak, should be somebody who can, hopefully become the CEO of this in time, or whatever nomenclature we use. But for now, just tries to keep everything on track and moving forward. I think in a practical terms, that's the way that this happens. And if we don't until we do that, we're just going to be, flailing a little bit and having slow progress, which we can't afford. And I can't replicate the role that I had before, because my primary goal was to get us over the line and have it exist so that the functions of the organization that we'd laid out in those documents could take over. But I think that's what we need to do. Some kind of interim whip cracker at the very least, but hopefully that's somebody that's a role that evolves into an ongoing thing. And again, another reason why none of us should really be doing it, least of all me, is that it has to be somebody every chain feels comfortable will do the described job, and in favor of the organization. It's the needs of the organization itself, and not any one member.
Yeah. Brendan, yes.
I don't know if we have other points of order that we want to discuss before adjourning, since we're missing Eve and Lucas. But for my own particular needs with marketing, and specifically like right in the next coalition update, it'd be really helpful if, and thank you, Gnome and Aaron, for sharing those documents with me. I was wondering if I could entice either of you to give like a little brief summary about the current status of both these, because I know we don't have like a formal agreement with the faster Finality and IBC proposal, which is kind of a major deal involving all the different chains. So I kind of want to get the language right around that, or maybe if we shouldn't mention it yet because it's not a done deal, get some feedback on that. And then the status of the RFP with the wallet SDKs that Aaron is working on. Again, I have all the documents, but I'm just wondering if you could characterize for me where these two things are at, and like a general summary of. Yeah.
We shouldn't be putting anything out until we have a brand that we can put out at the same time. So we kind of buy a little time. while we don't have that. But at the same time, that hopefully is approaching. And as soon as we do have it, we should be coming out with a backlog of big announcements, I think, to show the work we've done. So I think those things need to be aligned.
So you'd rather
we don't want to come out with a new brand and not have any contract and not be able to announce any contracts. And there's no point in announcing contracts if we are doing it under the old brand.
So that's like a whole other discussion then, that you're raising. Should we pause the coalition updates until we have
It's been a month since we've done an update. We still need to do an update. Like, I am against holding off. It's been too long. We've made a lot of progress. When it was originally on our content calendar, we assumed that the brand would have been like Doug suggested. We thought it would coincide with it, but it's been a month and we haven't done one since. We've had all of these IBC discussions since we've had the faster finality discussions. So it's already on our
to me,
calendar.
Updates and announcements are different things. Just to clarify, I think we, as we talked about before, I think we need to. It's imperative that we set up a regular, predictable schedule for updates. But I think for announcements, we need a brand.
Okay, well, yeah. So writing this coalition report, we were doing once every 2 weeks. As Zach said, it's been a month on this last one, partly because it's just nothing breaking, and exciting that you can only write so much about this. They're still deliberating on the same things, kind of, as an update. So, but now I think these two items are a pretty big deal. And then, I can add something about the branding. Still ongoing, just so people know it's still happening. But yeah, how would you like to characterize where we're at with the wallet, both the wallet SDK and the larger IBC / faster finality issue? Like, it's a proposal at this point. I presume it's a proposal that the different chains have yet to finalize voting on, but this is the general idea, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I second that. The point is that we have a lot of work that went into those projects, and we do have figures now, right? So Aaron is wanted to kind of introduce us to the entire RFP document, and he already showed some figures last week with working packages. So I think we could take some of that as like an update and say, there it is. These are the key working packages or work packages that will be that are included in that. Let me just try to pull that up. So where is it?
It's kind of a summary, I guess. Where I would say we're at right now is we have these documents that outline kind of the proposal, and we are trying to align what we envision as this somewhat massive project with the stakeholders of the various chains. That includes like explaining what these are, answering questions, maybe making adjustments. And then once we have that kind of alignment, and either our vision changes or it coalesces somehow, that we then move into some kind of voting phase where the chains make the decision. So just as a very brief thing, that's where we are.
Yeah, and you could basically we could basically write a sentence for each of those phases and say, well, this is phase 1 is going to do this, phase 2 is going to do that, phase 3 is going to deliver this, and then add some rough estimates next to that and say, this is what it's going to deliver, and that's the estimated cost we're looking at if we want to publicize those kind of information. And then you do have some information, Brandon, to kind of elaborate on and talk about, because it's really cool stuff in there. Same applies for the IBC. I mean, I assume people are going to be pretty excited about more details about IBC. And I've seen the document that was just released by Gnome and sent over, and you have some like technical requirements that we could also kind of cover together, same as the faster finality requirements that could be kind of condensed in and having like 5 to 6 sentences. What will this deliver? What is the estimated cost for the coalition, and what are the benefits that we are expecting to get out of this for our user bases? I think if we do this would be like a cool update that shows that we're not being silently doing nothing. It's a lot of work being done, and these kind of documents clearly outline that we have a plan. The only thing missing is the final decision and the votes to really start working on that. I think that's the point that I would make here, because we have made progress, and we should talk about that. Not talking about that because we wait for a new branding, I think would be a mistake. Even if we don't have the branding right, and we finally vote on one of these things and see, okay, we do this IBC thing with having a pool of tokens. I don't know if we want to publicize this, a tool of tokens of each chain that is used as collateral against for the payments. I mean, this is kind of a cool thing, isn't it? And I think if we all approve, we could talk about this and say, this is not just IBC technology, it's actually being used to manage some of the payments immediately.
Yeah, and that's a little. Oh yeah, Guillaume, if you want to weigh in, but to that point, like that's a little bit of the area that I was kind of curious, like how much we wanted to get into is this financial arrangement of the different tokens being laid out, and your document expresses it perfectly. I just need to do it in words.
Right. So yeah, I did talk to Yves yesterday. I was essentially as I finished a document, I discussed it with him, and I guess like it's exactly what Kersten was saying, and very similar to what the status for the SDK for IBC and fast finality, where essentially as of yesterday, we're pretty much ready for the coalition members to review and eventually cast their vote on the proposal as it stands. There's what I was discussing with Yves yesterday is I think there's also opportunities to kind of start talking about it and to start like getting people excited, essentially like creating some momentum leading up to the release of the solution. Also considering that there's some of these early deliverables are pretty much done. Like there's a few things to adjust to reflect the requirements of the ENF and of the coalition members, but these are kind of short-term wins. So what we're discussing is possibly have some sort of a very fast open sourcing schedule, whereas like within as early as 1 month following signature of the contract, we would have already like something to release, and it would go pretty fast from there. So I think it's a bit unfortunate that Yves is not here today and that Lucas dropped, but I think we're actually doing pretty well now. It's just a matter of taking the time to go over the proposal, scheduling a vote. On my end, I'm ready to have our general counsel draft the contract with the member of the coalitions and get this out the door ASAP.
Yeah, Douglas is mentioning in chat that he still thinks that anything we officially announced prior to the new name and website is lost to us in terms of building the new identity. I personally do not agree with that, because we're not announcing the announcement of the announcement. We're just announcing that we make progress. And I'm not called Justin, and nobody's called Sun here. So we are virtually just reporting progress. And while we do this, obviously, once the work packages are being being ordered and the contracts are signed and the first deliverables are being deployed, this is the point where we pick this up again and say, hey, this is what the new name delivered based on the work we've done the last months. So I don't think it's going to be lost. It's going to be a proof that the coalition and the new name actually have a positive effect and do deliver something. So not sure.
So if you scroll up in the chat, I was trying to use chat instead of talking so much in these meetings. But if you scroll up, you see that that's what I call continuing the updates. I think it's crucial that we continue to the updates. I think that we can talk about these things and just say, hey, our policy is that we're not going to officially release anything as a full announcement until this branding is out for such and such reasons. But we can continue talking about things and updates, but the official announcements, I think, should wait until the branding is complete and live. That was my point. Not that we should hold any news. I think it's more important to get updates out. More important than ever to get those out and show continuous increased momentum.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you for clarification.
I posted a lot, and you were running the meeting, so I thought you might not have seen everything I had said.
Okay, so does this help you already, Brandon? I mean, you could get like 2-3 sentences from Aaron and Guillaume about the general status, and we have those documents, and we can kind of condense 3 to 4 technical information pieces out of that you could add to the report. And probably if we want some budget numbers, and probably if we want this IBC deal details that include tokens of the chain, that would also even more show how closely we're working together now. I think these kind of things would be valuable information pieces.
Yeah, I think I was trying to get to this yesterday, actually. But then I was kind of hoping that today's meeting would bring some more clarity and would have a little bit more to announce or update, whatever. But I would say tonight I'll just wrap up a general update that kind of gives a broad overview of the situation. And then when we actually have a more concrete agreement in place, we can go into the specific details. And Kersten, if you wanted to help with that at all, that'd be wonderful, because I think you probably have a better mind for the particular details and how to arrange all those different data points together.
Yeah, happy to help.
But yeah, I can just write a general overview kind of where we're at, which is essentially what I've been doing this whole time, going into details a little bit here and there, but nothing too exhaustive, I guess. So yeah, I think I'm good.
Excellent. So we still have like the introduction from Aaron. We wanted to talk about the P2P RFP from Stefan. We wanted to talk about the IBC Finality update from Guillaume. So what's the sentiment within the group? Obviously it's being recorded, but having the comments of Eve and Lucas would obviously be very valuable at this point. So basically giving it back, Aaron, Steve, Stefan, and Guillaume. Do you want to continue today with the limitation that Eve and Lucas are not on the call and outline the RFPs, or you would like to postpone for next week? Well, it's another week though.
I'll chime in and just go ahead and quickly say regarding the P2P RFP. I am comfortable talking about it today. I am also aware that Eve kind of gave it his blessing in the last meeting and has since delegated his vote to Ted. Right. So I think that we're equipped to make moves on it if we can come to a vote today. At least reviewing, I'm happy to do.
Excellent.
Yeah, we would like to try to get a vote today because we tried to get a vote last week and it got pushed off. Yeah. And So we have 3 voters still on here. So if Guillaume and Jesse and I'm going to vote yes, I'll vote yes. It wouldn't matter what Lucas votes, and we're done.
Okay, fine. Then
I would vote yes as well.
Okay, there's 2.
I read it and I like it. Everything's pretty clear.
Jesse, do you feel comfortable to vote, or do you want to hear Stephen talk about it?
I'd be comfortable to vote.
So,
I read it. Oh. I read it, and obviously I'll defer to Jesse on this one, but I feel comfortable, with my sort of to vote within the TELOS organization. Just to let you know, I do feel comfortable moving forward with that.
So, well, okay, then we don't even need any discussion about this one. So I'm
not. I haven't heard from you, Kersten, and I haven't heard from Jesse. I'm just saying that of the the 3 of us that it would take to officially do this for the TELOS core devs, Jesse and I hadn't directly decided that. So I'm just saying it's a yes for me if it is for him.
Okay, so then I basically bring this up for vote now. So I already have the votes, heard the votes from Ted and Guillaume, which are yes. Jesse, what is the vote of TELOS?
Yes.
Okay.
Then it passes, so we're good. So we can let Lucas know. And we did share the document before last week's call, and Stephen sent a number of reminders. So hopefully, if Lucas wants to discuss it, we're happy to jump on with him.
I really appreciate it, everybody. And thanks for those of you who have had the time to review it.
So EOS, yes. Wax is basically abstained for now, but I will check and chat with Lucas, and then. But this is a pass anyway, so wonderful. So we can move forward with this. Excellent. Aaron, you want to give some more outline on the wallet SDK? Do we also have an information state already achieved with the chains available here that would enable us for a vote on this one, or we need some further discussion? Obviously, the amounts are significantly higher. So, Guillaume, what's your position on that? You need further information?
No, I think we went over it last week, and my questions were answered. So as far as I'm concerned, all good with the proposal. We said we would discuss the basically like between the coalition members for the rates. So I think probably next week would be a good time to do so if everyone is available. Other than that, I think everything is fine.
Jesse?
Yeah, same.
Ted for ENF?
Sorry, we're good.
So I take this as yes?
Yes.
Okay. So we basically have quorum on that. So
Yeah, let's not overthink it. We have a quorum and everyone agreed. So, let's keep up the momentum.
Just to clarify, we voted on the proposal itself, but we still have to discuss the rates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well. Last time we talked about it, we were going to do kind of an introduction about it. Just again, kind of share the vision of everything and answer questions. But then you guys were going to take it offline, like you did with IBC, in a separate call, discuss the details, and then come back with it. So
exactly.
So we've approved it in principle pending pay rate agreement, a further agreement on that. Is that accurate?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, that's great, because this is one of the proposals that Jeff and I have also been talking about, saying, well, it's been discussed for a long, long time. Everybody's basically in agreement that we should do that. And it's one of those where we should say, well, yeah, generally we want to do this, and we know that we want to do this with Aaron. So let's go on. Okay, but that's great. So we have some further discussions in regard of the rates and the actual progress, and then move on. In regard of the IBC and fast finality, that was being updated today. So Ted, have you had a chance to discuss that internally in the ENF? Do you need further information?
I do not know what we would vote on the IBC outside of Eve. I'm texting him now. So I would let me abstain for now and go with the others until I hear back.
Yeah. So what about you, Jesse? Douglas?
Well, we can't pass anything without on this. I don't think without if EOS is going to abstain and Wax is in here. So I don't know if there's a point in any kind of vote. If you want a straw poll, I generally I strongly support it in general terms, but I haven't reviewed what's the most recent modifications. But I don't think it can necessarily. But I would say it shouldn't necessarily take us a week. We could discuss anything with a plan to have, a vote tomorrow or something and close out the week with a decision if possible, or Monday, and not have to wait a whole week for closing this out. That'd be my suggestion.
Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, generally I would be voting yes. I don't know if we've established all like the numbers and the minutia of, what we're actually agreeing to in terms of timelines and lockups and percentage, all that. So
all of that is in the spreadsheet that I shared yesterday. So maybe I can give a quick kind of explanation about the whole thing. I did so yesterday for Eve, and he felt like that was very representative of what he was. He said, in his words, he said it was exactly what he had in mind. So essentially, what I did is I took the original fast finality milestones and I interpolated the IBC milestones. So they have a slightly different color. The darker colors are related to IBC, and the lighter ones are related to faster finality. And then if you scroll to the right, scroll to the right. So you have the percentage of contribution from EOS, and then the combined contribution from Wax and TELOS, and then further broken down in terms of dollars, and then one column for Wax contribution and TELOS contribution, and it's per milestones. The idea is that as the agreement with regards to the funding was presented, EOS would end up paying the first milestones, and Wax and TELOS would end up paying the last milestones, or rather the funds would be unlocked like after a certain time for Wax and TELOS. And as we discussed, it would also be these funds would be made available to serve as liquidity into the AMM on EOS Network. And the LP tokens that represent ownership of these funds would be the ones to be locked. So essentially, this is to prevent the selling of the Wax and the TELOS token before vesting. And if you look at the milestones, that means essentially that none of these funds will be available until 9 months. And 9 months is a very small milestone, I think $14,000. And then it keeps unlocking based on these milestones. So in any case, if it's not clear, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to explain. But yeah, like Yves was essentially saying that this represents exactly what he had in mind originally. So I think on that front, we're good.
Thanks, Guillaume. I would say that this is a situation where you've definitely done your work and came back with the answers that that we asked for and the specifics. And I think we just need everybody else here to respond in kind and actually drill down and review this. And with what you've done and answering all the few open questions, personally, I think that we could vote on this in 24 hours, and I think that'd be a great way to close out the weekend if people have, or close out the week if people have if they have tight schedules tomorrow, over the next 24 hours, maybe we could do it Monday instead. But I would propose that we set a time to vote. We don't all have to get on. We could just vote with the voter for each chain could just submit a self video. We don't have to get on a whole big thing again. So we have that transparency, but I think we could do this in 24 hours because there's really no outstanding questions.
Yves has gotten back to me and he's saying he had seen the spreadsheet and he spoke with Guillaume for a few hours yesterday, but he was expecting to get some final documents. So I think either there's a small disconnect where
the final documents is it is here. Essentially, it was the only thing that was needed was the IBC requirements tab that I added. So the one thing that's required with the IBC requirement tabs is possibly to have AREG have a look at it and see if he'd like to change the wording, or we already agreed on the items themselves, but essentially for him to do what he did for fast finality requirements and really have a very kind of very well articulated definition for all these points. That's the only thing that's required, but in principle the information is already there.
Yeah, so just all that Yves needs to know is that that's there and talk to AREG. So he might not be ready in 24 hours is my point. He's away from the keyboard today. He's unfortunately has some personal items he has to attend to. So he may not be able to be ready by tomorrow. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And feel free to telegram him if you like, to however you want to coordinate. In general, he's going to be supportive, I think, but he is waiting for more information internally and more coordination on our side. So just so you're aware.
In light of that, does a Monday, do you think Monday would give him enough time to review? There's nothing functionally different about voting Friday or voting Monday.
I can't tell. I mean, he's
okay.
Tied up today. He's not really in the office.
It's fine. Great.
Okay. Yeah. So in regard of this is more like the commercial aspect of it. In regard of the general functionality or requirements for faster finality in IBC, do we have some more technical questions to the requirements from the chains, or is that all in alignment with what the expectations are? I mean, fast finality has been discussed extensively over a long time already. IBC is probably, while more common knowledge, I would think, hasn't been discussed in more detail. Well, this is not too detailed too. Are there technical questions or any other requirements and additions that the change would ask for in this kind of document?
I mean, feel free to add anything else you feel is missing. I'm talking to the ENF and TELOS and Lucas as well. But we went through quite a few rounds of these discussions already, and nobody has added anything other than AREG. AREG added a few requirements which we we discussed over the last 2 weeks in the Scalability Plus calls. And as of the call that was on this Tuesday, we've completed the research that was required to address these requirements that ARIG outlined. So at this point, we don't need anything else from ARIG to implement these requirements. So unless anyone else has anything else to add in terms of requirements, again, we've been through a few rounds of that already.
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything?
Yeah, let's not reopen stuff that we've already effectively decided on, right? We got to keep moving forward on this.
Yeah, I just want to be sure, Jesse, that's technically all fine, or you need any more technical clarification?
No, that's all fine.
Cool. Ted, anything from ENF that you would think you would add here, or have more technical questions or amendments?
No.
Okay. So that's we can ask Lucas, but I would tend to say that he'd most likely agree. But that means that it's more like the financial agreement that needs to be covered and decided on, which to my personal perspective looks fair and in favor of the smaller chains once more, which I highly appreciate. So, but then let's try to kind of push this forward during the coming days, so we don't have to wait until next week again. That sounds good. Is there anything else that anybody would like to add to the agenda for today? Because generally, all the topics that I had in progress or agenda for today are closed. Anything else you would like to add?
I'm not sure for today, but as we move to operationalizing the new branding, probably a sub-team or part of this agenda for how to move beyond just the launch, the continued evaluation of how we're going to extend that out, what that work plan looks like. So it could be something we put in the backlog and then try to address that in upcoming meetings or with a sub-team of sorts. That would be helpful.
Kersten, you're going to be gone next week, or are you going to be gone but still in this meeting?
No, I'm entirely gone next week.
Great. So enjoy that, first of all, well deserved. But also we should then figure out who is going to run the meeting next week. I think, Ted, you've run meetings really effectively in the past. Are you able to do that?
I could, or Jeff. But Jeff has generally been set up to.
Oh, Jeff. Yeah. Sorry. Either you or Jeff.
No problem.
Okay, great. It's easier to get it set up now. And Kersten, you're gone for 1 week or 2?
I planned initially 1, but I might extend to 2. But that's something we need to discuss.
We need to vote on that.
Let's plan on 2.
We got TELOS quorum. Jesse, Douglas, you agree?
I don't know. Yeah,
I concur.
I think you need family quorum. So you know.
You're my
you
family.
Take the time you need, man. You take the time you need. So let's just say we'll assume you're not going to be here for the next 2 weeks, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, and I put that's a difficult word for German. Operationalization of new branding and as an agenda point to be discussed further. I would assume that it's probably going to 28th or 4th. So I put it onto the 4th and see how fast you can get to that point and discuss. Awesome.
If I could go back to the IBC thing, again, and I'm just trying to relay information here as Eve has a minute here or there. He said, we need the general, in quotes, it still looks good from the folks to whom Gnome presented, so that we can get a legal to draft the actual agreement. In other words, Eve is wanting to see an actual legal agreement. So I don't know if he means our legal is going to draft that, or Guillaume's legal is going to draft that, but I think
what we discussed yesterday was our legal counsel would draft it, but I was just waiting for a kind of like, I guess, like an agreement from the parties with regards to the milestones. If TELOS and WAX and EOS agree with the milestone I presented, then we can definitely start the process and have the contract drafted.
Yeah, I just don't know. You noticed that you noted that you added that additional tab in the spreadsheet, and I can't be sure Eve has seen that tab or agrees to it. So, I mean, unfortunately, this is one item where it's complex enough, and I'm fine with you guys, telegramming in the background and sorting that out.
Yeah, I mean, that's I get. I'm personally not in a rush. If as long as I get a thumbs up from WAX and from TELOS with regards to the milestone, happy to get our council started on drafting the agreement. And of course for TELOS and WAX, I'm also available if there's any questions with regards to the milestones and payment schedule. If there's anything that's not clear, feel free to reach out to me. And then as soon as all the chains gave me their thumbs up, we'll get started with the drafting of the contract, and then we can take a vote on the content of the contract itself whenever. Essentially, like this document that I presented yesterday will serve as the annex of the contract. So essentially, it's going to be a more or less like standard service agreement with the annex that defines the work and the milestones that are expected. So that's why if I get a thumbs up, then I've got everything I need.
Yes. Sounds great. Any other topics? Brandon, if you need support for drafting the documents, since I'm not going to be there, tomorrow is my last day then. So we, if you need any help, please ping me on Telegram so we can get this finalized.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, we'll do. Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, so if there's nothing else, then I would even like to close the meeting half an hour earlier, give you some time, and wishing you a cool 2 weeks. I will report.
And you